It's Friday, January 29th, 2018. Actually, Friday, January 26th, 2018. It's that time of the hour for your favorite NFL and college football program. Welcome to the Pro Bowl edition of the Blitz Zone. Hi, everybody. My name is Eric Rosen, and I'm coming to you live from the studios of CTV in Staten Island, New York. And we have a lot of things to get to, especially with the Pro Bowl coming up this Sunday between the AFC and NFC. We got the Grammy Awards from New York as well on the same day, the 60th annual. And we have the Royal Rumble for WWE fans. And we're going to get into some Oscar news, too, with the announcements that took place this past Tuesday. So this is not just a football show tonight. This is football/entertainment. But let's get into the news of the past week in the NFL. The coaching carousel is fully complete. Well, legally fully complete because 5 of the 7 teams have coaches already accepting the offers. The 2 remaining teams that haven't been accepted legally are the Colts, who have named Josh McDaniels, the offensive coordinator for the New England Patriots, and the Detroit Lions, who have named Matt Patricia the defensive coordinator of the New England Patriots. But both their teams are going to be playing in a game we like to call the greatest of the year, Super Bowl 52. And we'll discuss how the Patriots got to Super Bowl 52 and defeating the Jacksonville Jaguars in a little bit. But the fact that their team is still playing for the Lombardi Trophy precludes either gentleman from signing with those respective clubs until the Super Bowl is over, that on Sunday, February 4th, or the next day, Monday, February 5th, when they can legally do so. As for the teams that have chosen their head coaches, we already know, of course, John Gruden signed with the Oakland Raiders, a mega 10-year, $100 million deal. We now know that Pat Shurmur, we know Matt Nagy is going to be with the Chicago Bears next year. Well, we have some great news, though, for the Tennessee Titans. This past week, Mike Vrabel, the former defensive lineman who played with the New England Patriots in 3 Super Bowl victories, and as well has been the defensive coordinator last year for the Houston Texans, has now been named the new head coach for the Tennessee Titans, replacing Mike Mularkey. Mike Mularkey, as you all know, was the coach last year. This past season, led the Titans to their first postseason appearance since 2008 and a wild card victory over the Chiefs 22-21. But unfortunately, they got their butts handed to them by the New England Patriots in the divisional rounds. That very week, around Martin Luther King, that was when Mike Mularkey and the Titans organization were trying to negotiate a contract extension. Mike Mularkey, though, was willing to sign, if he would be able to keep the coaches he had in place. The Titans said, "We'll give you the contract extension, but not the other condition. We want new coaches, offensively, defensively, and special teams within the organization." Mike, of course, didn't agree to what Amy Adams-Strunk wanted, so they decided to mutually part ways, began the coaching search for the Titans. They were looking towards Matt LaFleur, the offensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Rams. Steve Wilks was possibly on the horizon, the defensive coordinator from the Carolina Panthers. But they eventually landed on Mike Vrabel from the Houston Texans. The way his defenses, have played out, I think is going to work well with Tennessee. They have a good secondary, Logan Ryan and Jonathan Cyprien, to work with. Jarrell Casey, one of the best defensive frontmen in the league, and Brian Arakpo as well. So he has some really good players. And offensively, I think you got a great receiver in the making in Corey Davis, who finally got his first 2 touchdowns of the year in their loss to the New England Patriots in the divisional round, 35-14. But those 2 touchdowns both came from him. He was the fastest receiver at the 2017 Combine with a fast 40-yard dash time. Unbelievable. And he showed that speed in the divisional round. So we have a future great receiver in the making right there. And with a quarterback like Marcus Mariota, who can not only catch out of the backfield and apparently catch his own touchdowns, which we saw in the wild card round game against the Chiefs. I couldn't believe that stuff. It was something. It was miracles truly made to happen. But at the end of the day, Mike Vrabel is going to be the new head coach. I wish him all the best of luck with this organization, and I'm hoping that he'll continue the success that the Titans had this past year and get to the playoffs or maybe win the division title. But they got some competition, especially with the Jaguars, the way they played this year. And, with the Indianapolis Colts, I think on the horizon for next season, and the Houston Texans with the 100% health of Deshaun Watson, this is probably going to be one of the most competitive divisions in the NFL next year. So, Mike, it's going to be a fun party to be a part of. Now, as for other news in terms of head coaches, Pat Shurmur, the offense coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings, who unfortunately got their heads handed to them by the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC title game, and I'll discuss that in a bit. Well, because his team ended up losing to the Eagles and not going to the Super Bowl this year, which is a crying shame, he just accepted the formal offer from the New York Giants, and now will be their next head coach. I think the pedigree that Pat brings him is just outstanding. You look at the offensive line that they had this past year, that the way they were able to protect Case Keenum, that's what the Giants need to improve heavily, especially on the left side of the line, has been paramount for that O-line. And then you look at the receiving core that the Vikings had to work with. I think you can almost work the same way with OBJ or Odell Beckham if he gets his maturity in check and can stay healthy. And you have a really good future tight end in the making with Evan Ingram. They just need another wide receiver, and they need a hard-hitting running back. With that number 2 pick, I would not be shocked if they select Saquon Barkley from Penn State. He would be a perfect fit for Pat Shurmur's system. And then you look at quarterback-wise. Is Eli Manning coming back, or will he not come back? That's the whole question that has yet to be answered. If he does come back next year, hopefully Pat Shurmur will be able to work within his skill set. After all, he did wonders with Case Keenum last year. The guy who basically had 24 touchdowns to 20 interceptions before 2017 had 23 touchdowns and 8 interceptions for 2017. Look at the dramatic change in those numbers right there in just one season of work with Case Keenum. Who knows? Maybe the Giants will try and sign him, because it does make sense. He knows Pat Shurmur's offense very well, at least to be the backup. Or in case anything, if Eli decides, I don't want to come back next year, that would be the logical choice right there for the Giants. Just saying. Though, in terms of money, they're going to have to make some accounting measures to get that done. Otherwise, he might stay put in Minnesota. As for the defense, they have some good pieces in place for the secondary. They still need to rework some of the safeties, but I think overall, Landon Collins is great, but the other safety is. But I think Janoris Jenkins back next year will be good. They just need another decent cornerback next to him, and they need to revamp the defensive front 7. Otherwise, there's a lot of potential with this Giants team in the direction they're going to go in 2018. Nothing but maybe a potential Super Bowl appearance next year for them, or victory. Who knows? I think, but they have that potential for 2018 to do so. With Pat Shurmur and his creative schemes offensively, that's going to be great. And as for the Arizona Cardinals, they found a new coach, and it's not a mirage. It's Steve Wilks, the defensive coordinator from the Carolina Panthers, the second consecutive defensive coordinator from Carolina to be hired as a head coach in the NFL. Last year, of course, Sean McDermott was hired by the Buffalo Bills, who in 2016 was the defensive coordinator for the Panthers. Well, what he did for the Buffalo Bills this year, they went 9-7, had the number 6 seed in the NFL or the AFC playoff picture. First postseason appearance since 1999, breaking the longest drought in North American sports history. The issue that they had was their quarterback situation. Well, hopefully that will be worked out for Sean next year, but he really made that defense shine, especially with their new cornerback that came onto the scene this year, and to replace Stephon Gilmore, who went to New England. But otherwise, Buffalo does have a lot of upside for next year as well. But there has been some terrible news. Eric Wood, their center, unfortunately suffered what is amounting to a career-ending neck injury. So they're going to have to replace him for 2018 for sure. It's unfortunate to see any player so young with so much talent have their career end, but and it's really sad. And this is why football is such a tough, violent sport. It can be, especially parts of your body, the physical contact that you have to endure in this game. And, these players, you have, a lot of credit, and sometimes you're scared of them when they put their lives and their bodies on the line for our entertainment every single week. And to see somebody so young and so talented just go, in the prime of their career, have that injury is just sad. It really is. So all the best luck to Buffalo. But getting back to Arizona and Steve Wilkes, the question they're going to have to answer is quarterback. Carson Palmer, after 15 years in the league, retired this past year and unfortunately suffered a shoulder injury that pretty much answered his question whether he should come back to the Cardinals or not. And you're not going to have Drew Stanton as your number one. So who will be the number one signal caller under center for the Cardinals next year? Will David Johnson be at 100% for 2018? Is Larry Fitzgerald coming back after having a great age 35 season with over 1,000 yards and 100 receptions? And 12 touchdowns? And are we going to see the defense, especially the front, improve a little better ever since the absence of Calais Campbell, who went to Jacksonville? Steve's got a lot of things to work out for this Cardinals team on this 5-year deal, but he was highly sought after by so many teams. This is why he's going to shine in the desert. I have a lot of confidence in him. And hopefully when the postseason ends and we hear the official announcement from Matt Patricia with Detroit and Josh McDaniels with Indianapolis, we'll definitely report further on that. And this past week during the AFC and NFC title games, of course, the official announcements came out for the Walter Payton Man of the Year Award. That is given to the player who exhibits character, leadership, and charitable endeavors on and off the field, as well as great playing on the field. And the 3 finalists for this prestigious award, named after one of the greatest running backs in NFL history, and they are Greg Olsen, the Carolina Panthers tight end, who, of course, has done very well in terms of helping people with cardiac heart conditions, and his wife founded in 2013 called Hardest Yard Foundation for their unborn son TJ, who had hypnotic left heart syndrome, which is a congenital defect by underdeveloped left ventricles and an aorta. But what they do is Family Research Program Administration, in conjunction with Levine Children's Hospital in Charlotte, they provide families of babies affected by congenital heart disease with services including in-home care, private nursing care, physical therapy, and speech therapy at no cost to the families whatsoever. And November 2017, they came out with a cutting-edge program when they announced the initiative's new cardiac neurodevelopmental program. It's the first of its kind in the region in the Carolina region. And since 2009, Receptions for Research has distributed over $3.5 million in support. Congratulations, Greg. I know last year he was nominated, lost out to both. Well, I shouldn't say lost out. The people who were chosen over him were Eli Manning for Tackle for Cancer Research and Larry Fitzgerald. So those gentlemen, congratulations to you winning last year, and all the best to you and continue your charitable endeavors. I'm hoping to see Greg Olsen maybe take the award this year or have all 3. Since we had 2 last year, let's make it a 3-way tie and have the other 2 win. And let's discuss the other 2. Houston linebacker J.J. Watt, whose season unfortunately came to a screeching halt Week 5 with that back injury against the Kansas City Chiefs. Well, as we know, before the beginning of the 2017 season, Houston was hit hard by one of the most devastating natural disasters in the region, Hurricane Harvey. And J.J. Watt, feeling upset about this situation, wanted to do something. So he decided to start a GoFundMe page with a page for $250,000 being the mark he wanted to hit to help families $150,000, $100,000, and then $200,000. That was his fundraising goal, to which he matched the first $100,000, and then 19 days, the fund was actually growing by further and further. More and more money was being poured in, up until $37 million in charitable contributions was made towards this endeavor. And now what he's doing, he's promising that the donors and victims of Harvey, to donate to these people, that he's going to plan with strategic organizations, good in this promise, that every dollar will go directly to any situation and people in the area that are in need, that were affected by this hurricane. And with the J.J. Watt Foundation since 2009, after watching his mother go through this situation and survive breast cancer, which hits closely home to me because my mother went through this exact situation and has come out alive from this and has been a fighter, and she's just a great example. So I could see JJ doing this as well, because these are just people that you care for and want to make sure that no other person's mom or daughter or sister or niece or any person, female, related to them, doesn't go through this terrible disease, doesn't get affected by this anymore. And to find a way to end this sorry. I'm sorry, folks. I know. Shouldn't be crying like this. It's just... All right. Well, anyway, J.J. Watt's foundation, Receiving Hope, focuses on cancer research and educating and an education program, too, to help other youth and all that out there. So all the best to him. Great work. And then finally, Benjamin Watson, the tight end for the Baltimore Ravens. His charitable arm, the One More Foundation, to bless individuals that are supporting existing charities or initiating programs of its own. With International Justice Mission, he partnered with the world's largest international anti-slavery organization to fight the end of sex trafficking and human bondage. In April, especially when he was on a 3-day trip to Lebanon, and he witnessed the Middle East refugee crisis that took place. And then he traveled to the Dominican Republic back in June, formulating plans to combat sex trafficking and to help his community. So, end this world. All great nominees. Congratulations to you three. I honestly, I know you have to have one person that wins every year, but if they had 2 last year, give it to all 3 this year. They're all worthy of this award, and every person, too, that was nominated. That's what I mean. That's what I love about this game and any sport. Not only do players play well on the field, but they give off the field. And whatever charitable cause or endeavor that is nearest and dearest to them. Those are the mark of men right there. Mark men, women, whoever, any athlete who does for their community earns, I have nothing but the utmost respect and admiration for these people. So, again, congratulations to all 3 of these nominees. We'll find out the winner, or we'll find out who gets this award on Saturday, February 3rd, the night before the Super Bowl, when they have their annual NFL honor ceremony, which will be on NBC with Rob Riggle hosting the show. And we'll find out who the MVP will be this year, which I'm thinking is going to be Todd Gurley from the LA Rams, over 2,000 all-purpose yards. It could possibly be Tom Brady, who led the league with over 1,600 receiving yards at the age of 40. Maybe Case Keenum for the season that he had. Carson Wentz, too, before the unfortunate ACL tears. And then we'll have the offensive and defensive players of the year, the rookie offensive defense players of the year in both conferences, FedEx Fast Player Delivery of the Year. We'll have all sorts of awards, and even comeback of the year. Tune in that night. It should be fun. And we'll also find out who will be inducted into the most sacred place of all for football, the Canton Football National Hall of Fame. Should be some good nominees. All right. Now, let's recap what was the AFC and the NFC title games, starting with the AFC side of things. The Jacksonville Jaguars coming off their wild card round victory 10-3 over the Buffalo Bills, then defeating the Pittsburgh Penguins in the AFC divisional round. Now have their sights on the New England Patriots, who the previous week defeated the Tennessee Titans in the AFC divisional round. Now both these teams are fighting for that AFC spot for Super Bowl 52. Here we go, folks. At the beginning of the game, the Pats, on the first drive, Brady completed his first 6 passes of the game for 57 yards. Fortunately, on 3rd and 8, was sacked by Dante Fowler. It resulted in a 31-yard field goal by Stephen Gostkowski. They're up 3-0. Here we go into this. Then we get towards the end of the first quarter, going to the second quarter, where the Jacksonville Jaguars have a promising drive. 4 seconds in, 2nd and 4, 4-yard touchdown on play action. Blake Bortles throws a 4-yard pass to Mercedes Lewis, who blocks at first, then cuts to his right, to the right corner of the end zone, and does a little spinning move up in the air and grabs the ball. And they're up 7-3. Now let's go later to the middle of the second quarter right here. Leonard Fournette on 2nd and 4 piles towards the middle through all the New England defenders to make it 14-3 in the game. Then we go later on at the Pats 40. Then we go later on in the second quarter with a chance to go up 21-3. The Jaguars have the ball. They're at the Pats 44-yard line on 3rd and 7. Bortles, play action again, completes a 12-yard pass to Mercedes Lewis out of bounds. But unfortunately, they get called for a delay of game penalty. And that was the worst thing that could have possibly happened, because had that penalty not occurred, the Jaguars, I think, could have gone down the field and scored either a touchdown or a field goal and could have been up more points over the New England Patriots, which is something you have to do. 10 points is not going to cut it. You need to really eviscerate New England. And this would have been the best opportunity to do so. But the fact that they called for delay of game, then on the next play, Bortles gets sacked for a big loss by Bryce Butler, and they have to punt the ball. So they're up 14-3 at this point. Then we go 1st and 10 from the Pats 40. New England has the ball. A pass is thrown to Gronkowski on this particular play. And here's where things get really sour for New England at first. Not only are they down 14-3, but unfortunately Gronkowski is down too with a concussion on a nasty hit by safety Barry Church, who got called for a 15-yard unnecessary roughness penalty, which takes the ball to the Jacksonville 45. So it's 1st and 10 at the Jacksonville 45. On the next play, A.J. Bowie is guarding Brandon Cooks, going down the left sideline, and A.J. gets called for one of the worst defensive pass interference calls I've ever seen. First off, the ball was uncatchable to begin with. 2, it was just a little light tapping, honestly, a little back and forth. It was nothing that constituted defensive pass interference, unless you're, and I'm sorry to say this, unless you're a Patriot fan. You know, most of the country, including myself, I think I disagree with this call by the referees. And boom, it results in a 32-yard penalty, which puts the ball at the Jacksonville 13. On the next play, New England goes 12 yards on a play-action pass from Tom Brady to Brandon Cooks, and it's 1st and goal at the Jacksonville 1. Then the ball is handed off from Tom Brady to James White in the next play, goes to his left into the end zone, and it's 14-10 at this point, going into the half. So New England, some fans, anti-New England people, felt Tom Brady was just gifted that play. So it's 14-10 going into the second half. All right, in the beginning of the second half right here, on the next play, Josh Lambo hits a 54-yard field goal towards the middle of the netting for Jacksonville. So they're up 17-10 at this point, about 4:37 into the third quarter. Then 8 seconds Then we go into the fourth quarter right here. 8 seconds in, Josh Lambo hits a 43-yard field goal down the middle again. They're up 20-10. You think the game's over, right? It's not. It's definitely not over. When it comes to the New England Patriots in the fourth quarter, they know how to get that 24-karat magic. Borrow a little song from Bruno Mars, who's nominated for a Grammy this week. But one of the most magical plays was by Miles Jack, who gets a fumble. And this is how the play happened. The ball gets snapped to Brady, hands it off to hands off to Danny Amendola. And then Danny throws it to Danny Amendola. Then Danny on a lateral pass, and Danny throws another lateral play to the left side to James White, who goes down the left side of the field. But unfortunately, as he's going down, Miles Jack, the linebacker for the Jaguars, gets a fumble and recovery of the ball, but Jacksonville couldn't do anything with it and went 3 and out, especially on 3rd and 8 on a pass from Blake Bortles to Mercedes Lewis, and he stopped 1 yard short. So they had to punt the ball back, and here we go. 85 yards on an 8-play drive for the Pats, and the play that really got things started was 3rd and 18 at the Pats 25. Tom Brady throws a desperation heave to Danny Amendola for 21 yards. Then we go several plays later. It's 1st and 10, 1st and goal at the 9. And on play action, Brady throws the ball, of course, to Danny Amendola, goes to the left, weaves on a crossing route, weaves to the left side into the end zone, and they're down 20-17. On the next ensuing play for Jacksonville, could not do anything whatsoever with this next drive. So, especially on 3rd and 10, they're backed up, and Blake Bortles cannot convert whatsoever. So they have to punt. So they bring the punter, and it's one of the worst punts I've ever seen, because the ball lands at the 50-yard line, caught by Danny Amendola, weaves to the left side, goes 20 yards, 1st and 10 at the Jacksonville 30. On the next play right here, it's 1st and 10 at the Jacksonville 30. Play action, a little screen, a dink and dunk screen pass to James White, goes 15 yards right there. Then on the next play, a huge pass, 8-yard pass to Danny Amendola. It's 4th and 2. Then it becomes 4th and 2. And on 4th down, and Brady gets a nice quarterback sneak for a new fresh set of downs. Here we go, 1st and goal from the Jacksonville 5. And you get a nice 1-yard run by James White. So it's 2nd goal at the Jacksonville 4. Brady again gets the ball. Play action fake. Looks towards the left. Then he throws down the middle to Danny Amendola. Both feet in bounds. Game-winning touchdown with 2:48 left on the clock. They're up 20. What looks like game-winning to New England. They're up 24-20 with about 2:48 to go. Jacksonville gets the ball back. Unfortunately, on 4th down, on a heaving play to the right side, Blake Bortles throws up in the air on a pass to Dede Westbrook, and Stephon Gilmore, the cornerback for the Patriots, knocks the ball out and therefore extinguishes Jacksonville's hopes of their first Super Bowl appearance. But it's still not over, because Jacksonville had several timeouts, and they were able to use all of them up until 3rd and 8 with about less than a minute and a half to go. James White gets the ball handed him by Tom Brady, weaves in a little hole on the left side, and is able to get the 1st down. New England, of course, kneels down. The game is over. New England winning yet another AFC title game and going to their 3rd Super Bowl in the last 4 years, winning 24-20 over the Jaguars. But you have to give it up to Jacksonville in the season they had. Let's not forget, this was a team that was the proverbial